What's up, folks? Ragnarok here with episode number 54 of my High Elves Mortal Empires campaign on Legendary difficulty. So I've been a little bit careless here. I didn't even see Marathi coming through the back door here. So Marathi is over here. So we've got 2 stacks over here. And then we've got Malekith. We've got 2 stacks here. Malekith is down here and 2 stacks. So we're up against 6 stacks of Dark Elves. Tyrion's right here. We've got our archers here and archers here. That's all we've got. So definitely time, and we've also got these vampires to sort out. So it's definitely time to recruit some more troops. Get them in the field, because shit is going to hit the fan. And I think this time we can repel this Dark Elf assault. We'll go north with our allies and finish them off for good. We got a lot of territory up there, but I think that's the plan. Our southern flanks are completely secure, sort of. I mean, these vampires are going to be a nuisance, but the real threat is the Dark Elves, I think. All right, so yeah, it's time to get some boots on the ground and take these guys down. Give you that. Alright, mount gained. Alright, so first off, looks like we're probably going to lose the Griffin Gate, because we haven't had an opportunity to build it. I think we're going to definitely lose some territory here, taking on this coming storm, but minus for chariot and eagle bolt throwers. Let's go with Hawkeye right here. Just let me make sure that this is the right place. Yep. Alright, good. What was I gonna do? Let's go with this. So next turn we'll get more recruitment, and we'll recruit you here. Alright, Hawkeye, services are required. Why are you suffering attrition? There you go. That was weird. So there's corruption out there. Alright, and for you, we're just gonna go cheap. Cheap and efficient. Oh, I can only get 2 at a time. Lock 10 turns, so that's finished. Alright, we'll just get started on that. Up here, we are going to recruit the what is he? White Lion of Trace, Alistair. It's gonna increase your upkeep by 233. Alright. Get in there. So hopefully our hopefully our economy can handle this. Alright. Oh, more. Let's go with that. You can start recruiting as well. And let's do the old Rally Citizens Militia. Oh shit, you know what I should have done? Alright, let's perform this right. There are 4 powerful magic items at your disposal, which are reaverable. Crown of Authority. Oh. Ooh, this, I like that. Let's go with that, Crown of Authority. Alright, actually, cancel this. And recruit them again. Should have more experience this time. And I don't know, I don't think it. Yeah, I don't think it makes a difference for the archers. Hmm. Thing is, I want to... You know what the thing is? I think that'll be sufficient. I was gonna say we'll recruit another army down here, but yeah, I don't think we'll need it. I think these 5 armies. We have 5 armies, right? Yeah, that'll be 5 armies. Will be sufficient, provided we can get them in the field in time. And you move up to there. All right, you guys are gonna have to harass this army. See if you can. Just gonna use our mages to try and. All right, perfect. So we'll try and harass them, bog them down. We'll get. Oh fuck! They got another army coming out here. We get these archers up here, and then we'll get Tyrion into the action. So this episode, I think I'm gonna do an hour episode here because I want to sort this out. And we haven't had any fights for a while, so we're probably gonna lose territory over this way. But they gotta get through the Eagle Gate, which is level 4. Our allies. Can we give you a war coordination target? Try and hunt them down. You guys try and deal with Alright. You guys try and take one of them out, or at least slow them down. Alright, I think we'll be alright here, but it's just going to take a little bit of time to sort this out. And you're supposed to be in the fucking army over here. Actually, get you over here with, whoops. Get you over here with the White Lion. And that's what you're here for. I think though, after this is all sorted out, we'll probably disband the recruits, the new recruit of archers. I guess thinking too far ahead. I should probably sort this out before anything. So we'll fill this up with archers, and fill this up with archers too, just to get. We'll use the global recruitment for that. Okay. Alright. Tyrion will be back in the field next turn, and we've got a formidable force. So we'll try and get our troops together and take them on and get them into positions that are less than ideal. The income's going to be strained for a little while. We're not going to spend any money because we're going to need money. Research available. Perfect. Yeah, sweet. That'll be helpful. Especially we're going to have to do some rebuilding here because we are going to be under siege. I guess, oh, son of a bitch. I keep forgetting to move this agent down here. Where is he? Oh, there he is. And how long have you been just sitting there? Come down this way. Take a look around down here, see what's on this fucking continent. Maybe come steal some or gain some influence over here. Alrighty, so yeah, we haven't had a battle for a while, but it looks like we're gonna have some very shortly. Yeah, this episode and the next episode I might do hour long, just because I'm gonna be taking a real break from this game. To finish my Wrath of Sparta campaign, so I don't want to leave it a mess. So I'm going to try and sort as much of this out. Plus, you guys haven't gotten any action for a while, so there's no we haven't had a fight for ages. So just been building up the economy, but you know, this is why I wanted to build up the treasury, and we weren't even able to really build it up that much, and we've spent pretty much all of it already, so yeah, I think we'll be fine. I mean, they're fighting on our territory, and the outer edges of Uthlon aren't as valuable as the inside anyway. The way we.
Right. You guys are probably wondering now. The audio seems a little wonky here, or a little bit off in this episode. Yeah, that's because I'm a bit of an idiot sometimes, or all the time. Right. Yeah. So initially, when I recorded this, I forgot to. I took a break before recording this episode, and I didn't. I changed the audio in the setting for the in my recording software. Sorry, and forgot to switch it back. And so the in-game audio wasn't there. So what you're hearing, the background audio, was recorded afterwards, and I just sort of re-recording this with that audio in there. At about the 10-minute mark, I guess I must have hit the mute on the microphone or something. Totally ridiculous. So the rest of this episode, the next 50 minutes or so, wouldn't have any commentary at all. But again, I'm re-recording this so that you guys get a little bit of audio in there. So yeah, if you guys skip over this episode, I'm not gonna you're not gonna hurt my feelings too much. I don't know. I guess maybe I was pushing myself a little bit too far, and should have ended my recording session a couple episodes early on this particular day, because next episode I actually lose some of the footage. So next episode will actually be made up of there's one battle right away, and then there's a replay battle, and then I get back into the campaign and record the last 10 minutes or so with another battle. So 3 battles next episode, which will be good. I think there's one battle towards the end of this one, probably around the 45 minute mark, something like that. But yeah, anyway, this was recorded about a month ago, I guess. And I'm re-recording this episode actually the day of uploading it. It's kind of last minute. I've been trying to make time to record, re-record this all week, all last week, because I didn't realize that there was no commentary at the end of it until I uploaded the video, and I was watching it just to double check that everything was good. And I realized that there's no audio on the back end of it, so I'm re-recording this day of. I tried to make time last week, but just my work schedule, fucking nightmare right now. Yeah, anyway, so I'll do my best to, talk about what's going on here as the episode goes on. And again, if you guys don't necessarily stay tuned for this whole thing, I can't blame you. Amateur hour continues here with Ragnarok, Total War. So yeah, slowly I'm kind of getting the hang of all this stuff. The next episode, with actually losing some of the footage, kind of in a way sort of a blessing in disguise, kind of forced me to get some actual editing software, which as I start to learn how to use that a little bit more, I should be able to do some videos with a little bit more production value, and maybe consider doing some campaigns that are abridged, and we can cut out some of the some of the other stuff, some of the slower parts of the campaign and everything. Right, so we've got this dispute infighting, and sorry, I missed that. I'm just trying to get my thoughts together, but I'm not sure what my rationale was for making that decision. Usually I go with whatever's going to give us the most influence, but anyway. Right, so we're in a bit of a shit situation here. We're, like I sent a scout south to find Teclis so that we could potentially have another ally, and it just did the complete opposite. It looks like Teclis has been killed, or I don't know, maybe he's further in the jungle, but his starting point has been taken over by the vampires, and rather than getting an ally, we're now at war with the vampires, which means we're at war with the vampires and the Dark Elves, and we're getting an invasion on two fronts, which is a real fucking pain in the ass. This war with the Dark Elves has been really putting a strain on things. Yeah, it's going to be we're going to be fighting them for what seems like an absolute age here. I do want to apologize also, guys. I'm a little bit under the weather with working so much. The weather has changed now here in excuse me, in Toronto. It's I don't know, the weather's really odd here. I find beside the lake, we're beside one of the Great Lakes, Lake Ontario, and the lake effect. You'll have really dramatic changes in the temperature. It'll be freezing cold, and then a day or two later it'll warm right up, and it flip-flops like that quite often, to be honest. But yeah, the last week was fucking bitter cold. We got our first snowfall and everything, and yeah, it was quite cool for a few days there. It's warmed up a little bit now, and some of the snow has melted a little bit, but still kind of dreary and whatever. But between the weather and working so many hours, and not to mention everybody at my work was sick over the last 2 weeks. So I've been fighting it off for a little while and finally succumbed to it. So I've got a little bit of a cold, I'm a little bit under the weather. I have a bit of a headache right now as well. So I'm just trying to. Anytime I have a headache, I have a really difficult time thinking. But yeah, so I apologize for that if if I sound a little bit off, or if I end up coughing. Try my best to get through this without coughing too much. And yeah, if I sound a little bit nasally, that is the reason why. So yeah, so just trying to reorganize the armies here, get them back up to get more soldiers into the field, because we've got, I don't know, 5 or 6 Dark Elf armies coming at us, and 3 or 4 Vampire Count armies. So Tyrion's army, it's going to take a while for these white lines to be finished. Definitely need them. We need more infantry in our armies. But our allies seem to be making ground for the most part. Dark Elves, most of their armies are coming at us, which means it gives them an opportunity to move north. In the south there, though, they're at war with the orcs as well as the vampires, I think. So they're not making quite as much progress in the south, but yeah, I'm just trying to slow these guys down, just trying to block them with our mages, slow them down while we get those troops recruited and we get Tyrion's army caught up with them. But we're not having a whole lot of luck with the agents. Right. Yeah, so initially when I started doing when I decided I was going to do the channel, I toyed with the idea of actually recording gameplay first and then going back and doing commentary over it. I guess there would be, like anything, there's advantages and disadvantages to doing something like that. The advantage would be you'd probably get a better recording. I mean, theoretically, be more relaxed. You could think more about what you want to say. You could use a script, and yeah, just get overall better commentary for the entire episode. Disadvantages, you wouldn't get that live feeling, like knowing what's going to happen through the episode. You wouldn't get the same genuine sort of reaction to all this sort of stuff going on, and also it would take twice as long to record. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. Depending on how things go, I don't know. I may or may not do recordings in that way in the future, or maybe try something a little bit different. But for now, I just want to try and get through these campaigns and learn to get better with the commentary, and slowly over time, I think the more that I do it, the more that I practice it, the better I'll get at it, and over time it should become second nature. I mean, you watch guys like Surreal Beliefs or Lionheart or Legend of Total Wars, the guys that do a lot of campaigns for Total War on YouTube. And they make it look so easy, or make it sound so easy anyway, with their commentary. So I think over time, hopefully I'll get there. I'm not sure. Definitely trying to work towards getting, some weird mannerisms and stuff out of the commentary, and just work on that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely having a good time though. I fucking love these games so much. I haven't actually been recording any new episodes for this series for a little while, just since the Empire Divided DLC came out. All right, so this is the battle I was talking about. Actually, it was a little bit earlier than I thought. Griffin Gate. Don't think I'm gonna win this, but we want to do some damage here to these guys. Yeah, so the battle's not going to have quite the same feel without the actual special effects and everything, the effects of the units in there. But again, I apologize, rookie night here on the channel. Hopefully this sort of thing doesn't happen very often, and that we can get a nice, clean, seamless episode for most of it. Most of the recordings. But yeah, we're up against some elite troops, and the Griffin Gate. I haven't had an opportunity to build it up since we've taken it, so the garrison here is not quite as good as the garrison at the other gates. So, but I think what the plan is to try and damage them as much as possible. We want to try and take out a couple of units and really weaken this army, so that we can counterattack them and try and get rid of this army. So they've set up. They're going to attack two separate sides. So I think what I'm thinking is try and load up on one side, and finish off one force relatively quickly, and then fall back to the center. So I think what I'm gonna do here is load up troops on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side do a planned retreat back into the town center, and then if we can finish off the troops on the left-hand side, we'll bring our troops back to the center as well, and try and make a last stand at the center. So I think that's sort of what my logic for this is, my reasoning. So we're gonna put a few of the archers over here. And some of the silver helms. The artillery, you notice, put back in the corner there. Really sucks that you can't put the artillery on the walls, but anyway, what can you do? So the artillery, my plan is to use them to bomb them as they come into the actual settlement. And yeah, so we're gonna load up majority of our forces on this side and see if we can eliminate this half of the army and then pull back to the other side. So we'll see how this all ends up playing out. Just a beautiful map, the background and everything, just fantastic. Yeah, just a fucking fantastic job that they've done with this. I know I say that almost every episode, but it really does breathe life into the campaign, give it a really really great feel. You know, even if the maps are small and the sieges are small, you still get a nice feeling. And some of these sieges are actually there is a little bit of room for strategy in there. I know that they're you know, heavily criticized by most of the YouTubers. The way the sieges are set up and everything, especially compared, you know, like I sympathize, you know, because I know, you know, like I don't have a lot of experience myself playing Medieval 2, but I know that Medieval 2, you know, some of the settlements are massive for sieges and everything, and that they did do a really good job with the sieges. So I definitely sympathize, because I mean, like, this is, you know, we've got one wall that we're defending here, compared to what they had in previous games. And I mean, like, how old is Medieval 2 now? I mean, there's not really, you know, like, we want to try to make excuses for CA, but I mean, like, what really is the excuse? Like, why, you know, like, you know, it's been more than 10 years since Medieval 2. I think almost even maybe 20 years. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when Medieval 2 came out. But, you know, the sieges should have grown exponentially in epicness and scale and all that sort of stuff. And instead, they've kind of gone the opposite direction. But, you know, the other thing is, too, with their AI, you would think that that these games, the AI would have improved in the same way. So I don't know. So I mean, it's not going exactly according to plan here. It's taking quite a while to take these guys down, but they are, and we've lost this lost the walls over here on the right very quickly. Silver Helms are trying to hold up the flying units over there, the bats, I think they are, or something, or harpies maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but not really doing a very good job of it either, though. The problem with the cavalry is that in melee, they don't perform very well. It's all really about the charge for the cavalry. You leave them in prolonged melee, they'll have trouble against just about anything, really. Or trouble with just about anything. But yeah, so over here they're not really trying to get through the gate by the looks of things, and the towers and the archers are getting some work done. So I think it probably would have been better. I should have put the gate guard on the opposite side, because they would have been able to hold the walls a little bit longer, and the light archers over on this side. I think that would have been more logical choice. Right, so some of the Blackguard of Nagorond have already made their way in, and they're going to start slowly making their way to the town center. Excuse me. Silverhelms are just trying to hold them up for as long as possible. And artillery, just try and get as many shots in on them as we can before we lose this battle. Just we're up against too elite of a force to be able to really get the win here, I think. I mean, maybe if it was fought perfectly, with sort of the perfect strategy, you might be able to win this one, but I don't know. I mean, these spearmen are not going to last very long against the Blackguard. Not sure what I'm doing with the archers there. They're really in a dangerous spot there. Those bats are going to end up if they go over and attack the archers. I think what I'm thinking is trying to get them in behind the Blackguard of Nagorond. But yeah, the flying units are taking them down without too much trouble. So let's try to get as much damage on those Blackguard before they get into the spears there. Taking a little bit of damage anyway, so certainly helps out. But yeah, it's really it really is a shame though, because I mean, like, these games, like the graphics for the games has improved considerably. I mean, like, Medieval 2 still looks, you know, it looks okay, but it definitely feels dated. The graphics for Rome 2 as well, you know, they're still very good. I mean, like, even Shogun, Napoleon, still beautiful games in their own right. All of them, even, you know, Medieval 2 and the older ones. But they're not even in the same ballpark as the new ones. Just the level of detail. But kind of really is a shame though that the intelligence of the AI has not gone up at the same rate as the graphics. I mean, has improved in certain dimensions, I think, but yeah, it's still very, I don't know. I mean, it's functional for the most part, but the AI is just very, very predictable for the most part, and especially on the campaign map, they do a lot of redundant and a lot of really bizarre stuff sometimes. But I mean, one of the excuses that CA used for these battle maps being smaller was that they wanted it to be easier for the AI, that the AI would be more functional if the siege maps weren't too complex, which is, to me, like, that's a terrible excuse. Had they said, you know, graphical limitations or something, you know, or that they wanted the sieges to reflect more the tabletop, the way that the tabletop game is played, or something along those lines. Had they said something like that, I think people would have been a lot more sympathetic. But like saying that, yeah, we don't have the resources, or we can't take the time to make the AI smarter, so we're just going to scale down the options for the AI so that it's easier for them. I think is, you know, people are a little bit less sympathetic to them. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things. You know, I have a lot of hope for the series in the future, and that these games keep getting better and better over time. It's a fantastic community. They're constantly getting excellent feedback from a lot of the YouTubers, especially you know, guys like Invicta and Legend of Total War. You know, they take a lot of that. They take a lot of their advice to heart. I think the games are going to improve considerably over time. So yeah, they've announced now the Total War sagas. Actually, today, Tomb Kings was announced. I haven't actually watched the trailer. Looking forward to seeing that and seeing when it comes out. I'm not sure when the Total War Saga, The Thrones of Britannia, uh, is going to be out. But 2018, I'm thinking probably very early in 2018, probably sometime in the spring. But it's hard to say. They've released the map, which actually looks pretty good. But it's going to be a little bit different. But should be a great game. I've watched the Last Kingdom through twice now, which is the exact era that that game is taking place. So I'm a little bit excited for it. I can't believe I didn't check out the Last Kingdom sooner, but it's an awesome show. So I highly recommend it if you guys haven't seen it. All right, so Valiant defeat. We did do quite a bit of damage to them, 900 losses, but unfortunately, I don't know if we've even destroyed any units completely. Okay, so only really the one unit completely destroyed, so a little bit fruitless. But for whatever reason, they didn't take the gate. I guess they just sacked it, which, again, I don't know, like, it seems like a really weird move by the AI. I don't know though why they wouldn't. But yeah, we're pretty much under siege on all over the place here. So it's going to be a tough couple turns getting this all sorted out. Yeah, the Dark Elves have been relentless. Just since we've been at war with them, they just, every army that we defeat of them, they send another two back at us. It's like a dog with a bone. They just fucking just will not let up. Right, so I might as well cover a little bit of Tolkien here. While we're going through this episode. This is a longer episode. I made it a longer episode mainly because we hadn't been getting a lot of battles recently, and not to mention that we're kind of in the weeds here with these invasions. So I wanted to clear some of this up before I took a break from the campaign. So was really pushing through to try and sort some of this stuff out. But yeah, so it's a little bit of a longer episode. But anyway, I think I covered this stuff next episode. But as I said earlier, yeah, some of the recording was lost for next episode. And I think most of what I covered from Tolkien in that episode was... I did lose, so we didn't. So I might as well cover it now. Otherwise, it won't get covered. So we're still reading from Tolkien's essay on fairy stories, and we're just getting into, I think it's the second part, titled Origins. And he left the last part off saying, to ask what is the origin of stories, however qualified, is to ask what is the origin of language and of the mind. So a very, very compelling sort of thesis there, where he's basically saying that the origin of our mind is lies with stories, that our mind developed because of stories, which is a very different sort of thought than I think most philosophy or would say. I think that's a very, very interesting claim, and I think maybe there is a lot to it. But anyway, let's see what Tolkien has to say about it. So, all right, so origins. Actually, the question, what is the origin of the fairy element, lands us ultimately in the same fundamental inquiry. But there are many elements in fairy stories, such as the detachable heart, or swan robes, magical rings, arbitrary prohibitions, wicked stepmothers, and even fairies themselves, that can be studied without tackling this main question. Such studies are, however, scientific, at least in intent. They are the pursuit of folklorists or anthropologists, that is, of people using the stories not as they were meant to be used, but as a query from which to dig evidence or information about matters in which they are interested. A perfectly legitimate procedure in itself, but ignorance or forgetfulness of the nature of a story as a thing told in its entirety has often led such inquiries into strange judgments. To investigators of this sort, recurring similarities, such as the matter of the heart, seem specially important. So much so that students of folklore are apt to get off their own proper track, or to express themselves in a misleading shorthand, misleading in particular if it gets out of their monographs into books about literature. They are inclined to say that any two stories that are built around the same folklore motive are made up of a generally similar combination of such motives are the same stories. We read that Beowulf is only a virgin of Dat Erdmanniken, that Black Bull of Norway is Beauty and the Beast, or is the same story of Eros and Psyche, that the Norse Master Maid, or the Gallic Battle of the Birds and its many congeners, congeners and variants is the same story as the Greek tale of Jason and Medea. Statements of that kind may express, in undue abbreviation, some element of truth, but they are not true in a fairy story sense. They are not true in art or literature. It is precisely the coloring, the atmosphere, the unclassifiable individual details of a story, and above all, the general purport that informs with life the undissected bones of the plot that really count. Shakespeare's King Lear is not the same as Layman's story in his Brut. Or, to take the extreme case of Red Riding Hood, it is of merely secondary interest that the retold versions of this story, in which the little girl is saved by woodcutters, is directly derived from Perrault's story in which she was eaten by the wolf. The really important thing is that the later version has a happy ending, more or less, and if we do not mourn the grandmother overmuch, and that Perrault's version had not, that is a very profound difference, to which I shall return. Of course, I do not deny, for I feel strongly, the fascination of the desire to unravel the intricately knotted and ramified history of the branches of the tree tales. It is closely connected with the philologist's study of the tangled skein of language, of which I know some small pieces. Excuse me. But even with regard to language, it seems to me that the essential quality and aptitudes of a given language in a living monument is both more important to seize and far more difficult to make explicit than its linear history. So with regard to fairy stories, I feel that it is more interesting and also in its way more difficult to consider what they are, what they have become for us, and what values the long alchemic process of time have produced in them. In Descent's words, I would say, we must be satisfied with the soup that is set before us, and not desire to see the bones of the ox out of which it has been boiled. Though, oddly enough, Descent by the soup meant a mishmash of bogus prehistory founded on the earlier surmises of comparative philology, and by desire to see the bones, he meant a demand to see the workings and the proofs that led to these theories. By the soup, I mean the story as it is served up by its author or teller, and by the bones, its sources or material, even when, by rare luck, those can be with certainty discovered. But I do not, of course, forbid criticism of the soup as soup. Yeah, so a lot of really cool stuff in there. Just fucking really brilliant thought. Most of this on their stories. It's very interesting to see Tolkien's thought process laid out um, so well, in his own words, and just see where he's getting the inspiration for the fantastically wonderful stories that he himself wrote, that have inspired, generations of fantasy now. So some really good stuff there. But just talking about how we're told and retold the same story over and over again, but he's saying that even though it has elements of the same story, that it's always a different story, because of the different atmosphere and the different details and the different way that the plot unfolds. Yeah, really cool. I like the way he says the alchemy of time, or something like that, I think. How time changes stories and things like that. I mean, one of them was Beauty and the Beast, and you see the different, modern renditions of Beauty and the Beast, but there are similar stories in older traditions as well that story evolved from. So very, very cool stuff. Yeah, it just shows you how important stories are to us and how much a part of us and our history that they are. And most likely, most of our history began with stories. I mean, even when history is told in a very factual way, it still is a story of some kind. If you're just sort of boiling it down to the bones, so to speak, those bones still tell a kind of story. Very interesting stuff. I mean, a great example of history. I mean, I guess this is getting a little bit sort of off topic, sort of. But the two perfect examples of historians, the different ways that history can be told, I think, are Herodotus and Thucydides, where two ancient Greek historians, Herodotus telling things in the way that, as story. Basically, I think his line is, what they say, or what has been said about these things or these people, or something like that. So he's collecting a lot of things that are said and writing them down, and whether or not it's factual is sort of up to debate. But Thucydides, though, very different way, is he wants taking more of a scientific, more of a factual approach to telling history. Anyway, all very interesting stuff. I don't know how interested anyone else is in all of this, but I find it very compelling because, 500 or even 100 or maybe even 1,000 years from now, what is going to be told? What are the stories that are going to be told about our time? What are the factual evidence that's going to be used to sort of piece together an understanding and rationalization for the things that we've done during our time, our generation? I find that all very, very intriguing to think about. I mean, that is if, there's still human beings around, 100 or 500 or 1,000 years from now, because, yeah, I don't know, the rate we're going at definitely seems like, human beings have troubled times ahead. Yeah, I don't know, just seem like... a little bit out of control with everything. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I probably shouldn't get into any of that so much. I don't know if you guys are ready for me to rant about the ills of mankind or something. Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to ramble a little bit, I think. Right, so Tyrion is just trying to get Tyrion and these archers into position to take on Malekith. Excuse me. They're just out of range here. You know, I put that army together in that way because I thought it was going to give us extra movement, but I don't think it's the case. I know in previous Total Wars, like Napoleon, Shogun 2, and Rome 2, if you just have cavalry in your army, they have like a little bit of extra movement, which can really come in handy sometimes. You know, that extra little bit of movement can make the world of difference in certain situations. Just like if you have artillery in your army, it slows them down a little bit as well. I mean, the game that you can see this it's most apparent in, I'm pretty sure, is Napoleon and probably Empire too, but I still haven't played Empire, to be completely honest. But anyway, I don't know. I don't think it's the case in Warhammer, or at least it doesn't seem like it. I don't know. I'll have to test that out at some point and verify if that is the case. But the Tyrion should have a little bit of extra movement because the units in his army are a little bit more mobile. But I don't know. Maybe it's because the heroes there, they're not all on mounts right now. Maybe there's one of them that's slowing them down a little bit. One or two of them. I don't know. But yeah, we're slowly getting these armies put together. It's taking fucking forever. But yeah, once we get them together, we should have good sized army, a nice sizable force to be able to get rid of these, purge all of these armies from our lands. But these vampires, we've got nothing over here really to stop them aside from these mages. So I'm just really trying to slow them down as much as possible. But because I think it wasn't working very well, I just pulled the mages back down this way. Because they kept failing at the sabotage. So yeah, so I mean, not a terribly exciting episode. You know, I really thank you guys for, you know, those of you who have sat through this. You know, I really appreciate you guys watching and the support. And again, I'm really sorry that the audio got all messed up on here. I'll try and make sure it doesn't happen again. But yeah, the next episode should be a really good one for you. We've got three decent battles in there, and yeah, it should be all right. I don't know if I've had a lot of episodes with that many battles in it through this series, but I'm interested to see how this series all ends. Definitely in a difficult situation here, and there's a lot more to come because we still got the Chaos Invasion at some point, and we've got to move north to take out the Dark Elves, and we've got to move south also now to take out the vampires. I think splitting the armies and fighting on two fronts, I think is really our only option at this point, because there's just nothing. We're just, you know, if we don't do that, we're just gonna be facing invasion after invasion, I think, of Dark Elves and vampires, which is not going to be terribly exciting, and it's going to be incredibly frustrating. It's, you know, I mean, I can sit here and defend this island for a long time, but we're not going to get anywhere. The campaign is not going to progress, and it's just going to bore you guys to tears. So I think splitting the armies up is the best option because, you know, if we send most of our forces one way or the other, we'll be open to attacks from the other force. So I don't know. It's just a really shitty situation. I wish I didn't go down there with that scout in the first place. And yeah, yeah, that's one of the things that, you know, in other Total War games, you know, like you can always send one army out to discover new factions, so that you have more potential trading partners with. But the tricky part with that is that you open up yourself to more enemies, more potential enemies, more potential factions that can declare war on you. So I mean, there's a positive and negative to everything. So yeah, so Marathi is taking some of these settlements. The defenses aren't really built up properly here. If I had fought that one, we probably could have done a fair bit of damage on her. Actually, defenses weren't too bad. Wasn't a bad spot there. Probably actually should have fighted that, but I think at this point in the episode, I'm just getting fatigued, and you know, we're nearing the end of the episode. Kind of wish actually maybe I would have stopped the episode there and then fought that battle first thing in the next episode, because I think we could have done a fair bit of damage to Marathi in that case. But well, what can you do? I mean, yeah, again, this was recorded about a month ago, so yeah, I still don't have the time machine up and running. So yeah, we gotta deal with the decisions that were made in the past. Yeah, so our allies are still keeping the pressure up on Nagrand here in the north, which is good. Val's Anvil. I'm pretty sure that's a really valuable settlement. I think if I remember correctly, it gives like a global discount for armies or something. Maybe, I'm not sure. But definitely want to get over there to the Dark Elves, because that area is excuse me. Oh, sorry guys. Again, still fighting this cold. You know, today is my one day off of the week, and I am kind of getting behind on my recordings. Really do want to record some videos today, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to just try and get some rest and see if I can kick this cold first before I start recording again. I actually have a lot of time off near Christmas, the 23rd. I think I'm off the 23rd, 24th, obviously Christmas as well, and then the 26th. So I think for those 4 days, I think I'm just probably going to be recording non-stop. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the plan. Just try and get things kicked off for the new year. I want to finish off some of these campaigns. I mean, this campaign is probably going to run into the spring, well into the spring. Hopefully I can get it done before then, but it's hard to say. We're not making very good progress right now. We're already up to episode like almost 60, and yeah, we still got a lot of ground to cover. But I think once we get some momentum going, though, it'll go a lot quicker maybe. But it's just a matter of getting the momentum and moving the right direction. Yeah, I mean, this is why you know, if you watch Legend of Total War, his videos, he hates defensive battles and being in defensive positions, because you're not building up. You're winning battles, but your only reward is keeping your own lands. You're not taking new lands, and you're not growing as an empire. So yeah, right now we're in a really tough situation. Just need to start moving forward again. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what campaign I'm going to do next. I definitely want to do a Tomb Kings campaign. I still have to finish my Vortex campaign. and then I have a number of other campaigns that I do have planned. So, if there's something you guys want to see me do, especially in Warhammer, let me know. If you want me to do a Mortal Empires Tomb Kings, or maybe a or maybe a Vortex Tomb Kings, let me know. But I think that's just about gonna be it for this episode, guys. I think it's that's there it is. So finished off. Thank you so much for watching. Next episode will be a little bit more exciting. 100%. You get some good battles in there. It's already been recorded, so I know that for sure now. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. This is Ragnarok saying goodbye for now.